Hello, and welcome to the Monday Motion Show, the show where we talk about motion design and the industry and creativity and have an all-around good time.
What are you guys talking about today?
Dude, today we went to Atlanta recently to see our work on some big old screens for a big charity event we've been working on for the past month and a half, I think. Month? It was a short timeline, but it was fun.
I'm gonna get some sound bites. Man,
Okay.
I'm so excited to listen to this episode.
Dude, this episode's gonna fucking suck.
Dude.
This episode might be really awful.
You know what they say, the first time's magical.
Who's ready to lose their ear virginity? I am.
Gosh.
Hey, nobody else is gonna say it. I had to.
We danced around the thing and I was comes in and belly flops on it. My God.
Whammo, you know?
And roll the intro.
We have an intro?
There will be an intro
Oh.
here. I'm gonna do something.
Oh, look at this intro. No, what the hell do you want to talk about with me and Jackson? No. What's on your mind?
I'll tell you what's on my mind.
Thank God, that's what I asked you to do just now.
On my mind is that you don't have to care about what other people think. Does that make sense?
Yes. Anything further to add on that?
Nah, I'm just gonna let that marinate in my head for a bit and then come back to me. Please go
Okay,
around the circle.
That's fair. I'm still excited about our experience at the event we went to yesterday.
That seems like a easy place to start. Let's go there.
I think that we learned some very interesting things and also met a lot of interesting people. Getting to meet people that you have done the majority of your projects with for the year, but online, and instead getting to go see them in person while also seeing the work for the biggest project you've ever made is a pretty intense experience, I think. However, meeting them in person for the first time was not nearly as different as I thought it would be. Everything very much just translated from being online. Like, I know that we had said yesterday, it felt very much like a family reunion of some kind, you know?
I feel like I've met them at least
never
5 times
meeting them before. Yeah, it was really strange. And then not to mention having Hank there also was, I mean, since we had seen him at SCAD, I thought that was interesting that he was there too. Maybe that compounded and then it was just all like, okay, this is all normal, whatever. And since we had Dash Bash recently, I guess maybe I'm just more in that mindset, but it was pretty interesting how disarming it was, even for Mseti, who hadn't really had those. He's never met a client in person, one of our clients in person before.
Oh, that's true.
You know, we had at least met 8 and a couple other lovely folks.
Meeting people you work with in person, whether they're on your team or they're in a different company or they're direct to brand, is always just some of the best like little treats we get to have. Truly, it is the highlight of my week anytime it happens. I remember I chatted to someone that was thinking about purchasing our services, and we chatted for a bit. It turned out that he didn't quite have the budget, or it just wasn't a good fit. I don't remember at this point, but we ended up getting some drinks like the next week and just talking about business and just like chatting through some stuff and becoming friends. And oh my God, it's just simply the best. It's simply the best. Every single time we get to meet up with anyone that we've worked with or talked with in any sort of professional setting, it's very rewarding.
No, I don't know if it feels the same to you or why that feels so good, but to me, I'm pretty sure it's because the same reason I wanted the office space, you know, working out of the house for a really long time and just like, look, you're doing all this work and we're making however much revenue, and then you look outside and you're staring at the same cul-de-sac over and over again. Is like, okay, this does not really seem to match what we're doing. And then in the same way, like, you're just working online or whatever, it's like, this doesn't quite seem to match what we're doing. And then when you go and actually meet the people that your work is affecting or that you're getting to collaborate with, it's a very like validating experience, I think, more than anything else.
It really is. I think also part of it is because like yeah, it's a level up. But like remember where we started? We started doing all this kind of in COVID, kind of
Yeah.
when we were very isolated,
Yeah.
and so now the contrast of like slowly moving into being able to talk to people in person and being big business boys the way that we are
The
is
BBBs.
just we're BBBs, we're big business
No
boys,
better business bureau here.
and it's just like it's so rewarding. It's just such a nice contrast. It's like yeah, the way that business and all that shit is feels like it's meant to be done
I agree.
because our baseline was like Zoom,
Or Google Meet.
so of course it's gonna feel 1,000 times better to just be in person.
Yeah. I also was just super excited from like a just personal standpoint to be able to have MSETI experience one of those types of moments, you know, because we'd already had one on-site thing where I think we had, and
That's true.
that was enough of a doozy for me. Like, you know how emotional I got at that one, just because of like the how real that all felt at the same time. And then MSETI gets to go and see like this huge fucking space with all of his work in it all at once. I'm sure it's kind of insane.
I'd love to be able to provide that. I mean, like let's just talk about that experience there.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it was like breathtaking. I can't believe those people. That's just their job is to get to see that kind of stuff.
I
on
can't believe
giant
it's our
screens all the
job.
time. I mean, good point. But like, oh my god, when we were walking into the convention, what the hell was it
It's
called?
a convention center.
When we were walking into the big center, the big venue, and we found which stage we were going to, we walked through these nondescript doors. Well, first of all, we walked past Brand Apart's founder Garrett. Shout out Garrett.
Yeah.
And we're holding balloons and we're kind of lost. And he just walks by us and he's like, "Oh, the balloon guys."
We
or
never met him
something like that.
before, so
We're like, "Was that the guy that?" All right. Anyway, we open we open these like kind of nondescript, just gray metal doors, and then it feels like I entered into another dimension.
Yeah.
Because this space was massive. I'm talking like football fields massive.
multiple football fields?
Like
massive.
2 football fields is what it felt like. That's how big. Also, I've never really been on very many football fields, so
Me either. Could very well be one football field, but it felt like
thinking back to my high school experience,
football field.
taking that football field, it felt like maybe if I were to, cut up the football field, make it bigger,
rearrange it a little bit.
3,
you know.
3, 4 football fields. That's how big it felt. It felt massive. It was filled with fog, and there was this big like center area with the screens that arched over all the tables, and you could see all the lights like coming into that section from all the different sides, and then right in the middle, our work slowly moving up the screens, big and purple, and it felt like. Oh my god, it was crazy. It felt like I just walked into an alien planet. Like I just entered a different dimension. Like I just turned on a video game and was transported inside of it. It felt nuts.
It was
One that you created.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that was that was one of the weirdest realizations for me is that they normally they don't get a venue this early. Like and by early I mean like a week ahead of the event.
Yeah.
Usually it's like a day or two before or something like that. But at a certain point when they had the screens built, like they've basically just been sitting around with our like stuff dancing around them the entire day. Like as they're sitting there doing their rehearsals and whatever, it's like over and over and over again. I mean, just yesterday alone, we probably looked at the pre-opener, like 7 times,
At least
maybe
7
more.
times.
And just went through like the whole sequence of the rehearsal. It was very, very cool to see it all come together. And to also, like we've done things before, not necessarily in person, but where you hear from the client about like how it went and whatever. It's like, okay, cool. But there's a little bit of an air of like like we're really glad you did this, but like we don't think what you did was all that important. Like it didn't feel like that big of a chunk. But this was one of the first projects where we really got to like, I mean, we made basically all the visuals for that thing, from a motion standpoint. And to have our stuff be what was there the most in the whole show, because a lot of what we did was like ambient stuff that was just going to be on the walls during talks and whatever. Was just a very interesting feeling to be able to like talk with the people that paid us money to make the thing and like genuinely be able to tell that like they are super grateful that they could work with us on that, and it wasn't just like we need to check this box off and yay we got a vendor to do that. It's like no, like we are glad that you guys did that. I didn't feel any like air of just saying stuff for saying stuff's sake, I guess, which is refreshing, I think.
I super agree. And um, there was a point just being able to. I was talking to one of the people. They had a little performance, right? They had a little performance
Like a
as
musical.
after our pre-opener played. They had a little musical performance. It was a very catchy song. Um, Shout out to Nat for writing that.
For real.
Fantastic creative director. Anyway, um, they had a little performance, and I was talking to one of the dancers and rappers in it, and I was like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "I do the dancing and rapping." And I'm like, "That's so cool." And he asked me, of course, what do I do? And I'm like, "Oh," and then I was just able to point at the screen, which was playing what we made at that current moment. It had like I think a still of my opener up, so it was also my scene. And I was like, that's what I did. That's what I do. And it was just fucking, oh my God, it was so much fun to say that.
Because there's probably like 8 people at the company that even knew the nitty gritty of what we did there. You know, that knew our deliverables list and who was doing what and whatever. And so there's a bunch of people that are just seeing us there for the first time, and we're walking around with these balloons because we like printed out stickers of the next contract we're gonna do with them and put them on these balloons because it's a whole thing. Anyway, we commit to the bit, but we're walking around with all that stuff, and so we're getting some weird looks from people, and then they come over like, okay, like, what are you doing? And it is really that easy to just be like, oh, we just made the graphics for this, and they're like, oh my God, thank you, like, it's so great to be able to hear like this is by far the best blank anything that we've done because of the stuff that we did is pretty awesome. Also because they had like huge giant screens and a lot of other really cool things going on, but I'm going to simplify it down to it.
But I
you
did
know?
hear from people who have worked on all three times this thing has existed that this is the best it's looked.
Yeah.
Like from a visual standpoint, as in our jobs, went and made it the best in that regard. And that felt very powerful. That felt really nice.
You're
to
darn
hear.
tootin', dude. I do feel
And-
bad that
like
we
most-
only had 3 of us there, though. I was really, really
I wish we could have
wishing
brought more,
everybody
yeah.
else was able to go.
I remember at the very beginning, when we first walked in, we walked by like the room that Brand Apart had as like a sort of break room or like extra room that's outside of the venue, or outside of the stage, and there were people in there that we didn't know that worked at Brand Apart, just kind of sitting there, and we're like, "Hi, like, is Suze here? Are like these people here?" And they're like, "Yeah, they're like in the stage." And for a second, I felt a little bit like an imposter.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What am I doing here?" Like,
I was
what?
like, do they
I feel
actually
so
know
out
us?
of
Is this like a
place.
hazing thing? This is
I'm
weird.
like, what is this? And then I walked out and I thought about it for a sec, and it fully went away once I saw the visuals. But I was like, no, wait, we did like so much for this. Like we did so much of the visuals, and like so much of how it looked is because of us. Like what am I possibly thinking? These
Yeah.
people just don't know who I am.
Exactly,
So they're gonna
yeah.
just be a little weird. Like totally. Anyway, I have a video pulled up if you guys want to watch it.
Yeah.
You can just put this in post. Roll the clip, Jackson. For when we first walked in, we were all filming. It was really fun.
Good grief, it's huge.
No,
Wow.
it's massive. And the craziest part is they didn't even have like it's a completely blank space for each
It's
of
just
them.
empty.
There's
for the most
nothing
part.
in there. Every little thing that's in there, they had to get, including all the curtains, all the lights, all the scaffolding and structure to be able to hold everything up, all the LED panels, all of the like
All
seating
everything.
and literally everything in there. It is just blank floor, nothing else. They even told us that they were having to like redo the entire ceiling during their like pre-production and stuff. It's a whole thing. But yeah,
But,
it was a
like,
wild event space.
I never react like that. But like there, I was like, this is fucking huge.
Like this is
crazy. No, I was flabbergasted.
Yeah.
I was gobsmacked, you could say.
I feel like rarely in this industry do you actually get to experience your work like that.
Especially
Oh,
on that
yeah.
kind
I
of
mean, most-
scale. Yeah.
Yeah, most motion designs just socials, maybe television or something like
Yeah.
that. But getting to surround yourself with your work in
I-
a literal sense.
I had a conversation with someone, I unfortunately don't remember who, but
Oh.
we were talking and he was like, mentioned something very similar. It's like rarely do you actually get to see the reactions of the people that are looking at your work, that are viewing your work, that are being impacted by your work, because it's like usually like what you put it on an ad campaign and it's like, oh, it got 1.3 million views and this many clicks, and it's like,
If
well, you
that.
don't get to watch them watch it. But like here, not only is it just it's on such a larger, more intimate scale, but you actually get to see people react to your work.
Yeah.
And while we're not there for the event and we don't get to fully see that, we at least got to see some people and each other see
Yeah.
the work and just be like, oh my God, like this is so fantastic. And that felt important to me.
The fact that people had been having to they had to sit there while doing rehearsals and stuff for a week watching the stuff over and over and over again, and they still felt that it was cool that long after the fact, that's a pretty good feeling. But I am most jealous of the people that get to actually be there for the real deal tonight and just see that for the first time with no expectations.
Yes.
Because like,
Dude.
we know exactly what's happening on all these screens,
Right.
especially for the pre-opener. But because of there being essentially a wall of screens, then the ceiling, then another wall of screens, what we ended up doing was basically making 2 videos, one for each side for the pre-openers. So it's like 2 completely different versions, all choreographed to like the similar cuts and whatever. And so we all know that that's going to happen when we walk in. And still, when they play it for the first time, we're like, crap, I don't know which one I want to look at. Shit. Like, we wanted to see like this scene over here, and then when you're looking at this one, you're like, damn it, now I missed that one because that happens at the same time. And so we had to watch it like 3 times to really be able to like each get to see like the scenes we wanted to. But it's pretty nice to know because the tables are set up where they're just like super long and parallel to the walls. So there are people who are just going to be looking at one side and just people who are going to be looking at one side. And I just hope that there's a conversation at one of those tables where somebody's like, oh, I love that scene where blank happened. Did you see that? And then the other person's like, what? That did not happen on my side.
Are we
you
watching
know?
the
Like-
same over? And that third person comes in and it's like, no, there was different stuff playing on both of them. Don't worry, I was jumping between them. Because I know some people are going to be like, wow, oh,
Like, whoa.
oh, hold on. Wait.
what?
Can we play it again?
Can we do it again, please?
I felt like that, even if I knew everything that was coming, and I kept like following the same pattern of looking, and I was like, oh, that's pretty, and I was like, crap, I keep missing like the transitions, some of the transitions that I want to see, because it's too freaking pretty on some sides.
It also
Like a
felt
goofy little nerd talking about
really-
these giant screens, but I love it.
it also felt really empowering to be able to have the people who like fundraise to make the event even happen were there to watch the rehearsal and stuff, and then they ended up giving speeches afterwards to like thank everybody and talk through it and whatever, and to just get a better understanding like from the actual people that made those decisions to put the event on in a very like intimate way, to just understand why they're doing what they're doing and why they're like running this charity, and the fact that it even was a charity to begin with, and we're not just like making another explainer video for who knows who wants to raise some funding or whatever. It was just really refreshing experience. Like we've been, I don't know, no, you and I had talked about wanting projects like that forever, and of course the one we end up getting, we end up being like, yeah, we'll do all of this stuff, but it was like a super tight time crunch by the end of it and whatever, but like it was so well worth it by the time you go and actually see all this stuff and understand what it's actually doing, you know? Like they're gonna raise a ton of money tonight for a lot of people who could really use that in very beneficial ways. It's great. I mean, we were in that space. There's no windows or anything down in the like hall area, the like main stage. We were in there for like 6-7 hours, and we left by 6 p.m. because we had to get back to our flights the same day. And still, we ended up like leaving there and being like, "It's light outside? That's weird." Like we were fully, biologically, we were fully in nighttime mode. You know? It really.
You're telling
It was
me
nighttime.
you created something beyond content. It was an experience.
It sure was. It sure was.
A full sensory experience.
It really was. There were times where I was Said he made this joke when it was this like orange version of the visuals, where he was like, "Dude, this is like lo-fi campfire you can study to or whatever," and that's really what it felt like. It's just like nice ambient stuff on the walls. I could sit there and work all day. It'd be great.
In the future, here's my office idea. It's a full XR stage. I'm talking every single wall is LED, floor, ceiling. Fuck the floor, actually. Floor is just shiny black.
Fuck the floor.
Maybe the floor and ceiling are mirrored. That would be cool. but just like you can put whatever you want on the screens, and it's just like super ambient
Yeah.
anytime you want. You can make it daytime. You can put like a
You can
sunrise
put
off in
yourself
the
in the
distance.
sky.
Oh my god, I would love to. And then
Sky
the floor
tower.
looks like the floor just looks like a glass like pane, and you
Yeah.
can look down, and it's just like the earth. Oh my god, that'd be so freaking cool, man.
Well, we've got to
Let's
make
make
some
it
more money to
happen.
buy you an XR stage, I guess.
Wait, imagine this. Imagine. Have you seen like Tiny Desk and like DJ sets online? They always have like these really interesting, cool stages.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dude, I guarantee if you made that like with those LED screens, that would be the sickest freaking dang musician Tiny Desk looking ass. You know what I mean?
That would be
Ah.
the freakish, sickest dang thing, I tell you what.
It would be. It would be so cool. My gosh.
That's
I want to do that.
mm.
Next
Dream
business.
office.
Yeah.
Dream office LED panels on all sides. Okay.
Yeah.
I like
It's
that.
only fair. We'll just
Austin.
live at the Mandalorian set.
Austin, what's your dream office, Austin?
Yeah.
Lots of natural light and people in it. Those are the two requirements. That's really it. I'm not that specific otherwise. That'd be pretty cool. And you might say, well, aren't you in a co-working space? No, I want my people here. I don't want just a bunch of random people here.
I feel that.
Why have people in real life when you can have them online?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jackson.
It's great. Yes.
And this next segment is sponsored by Zoom. I actually I heard yesterday that there's a leaked all hands call, like a staff meeting from Zoom, where the CEO was saying everyone was going to have to come back into the office because people can't work as well on Zoom. CEO of Zoom to his own staff is like,
Oh my god.
uh-oh. Guys,
You know, I
gotta come
really-
back.
We believe in products over here.
I really hope someday I can work in a place that just has boxes and boxes of diapers in it. I don't know what.
Dude,
Oh,
it's your
shoot.
lucky
No
fucking
way.
day.
No way.
Wow, you get to
Man,
accomplish your
living the
dreams
dream.
so much faster than us. It's not fair.
Oh boy, that was dumb.
I guess I'll just say one more thing about beloved remembrance-wise. That makes it sound
Go
like it
for
was a
it.
funeral or something, but it wasn't. I swear.
But it's literally happening as well, like in a
It's
couple hours
happening in
from
like
when
an
we're
hour
recording this.
From like right now when we're recording
Yeah.
this, yeah. But anyway, it has definitely made me want to find a way to interface with clients in person more. I'm not necessarily just
too.
having like sales calls or whatever, but like actually being able to go there and work with them for a day or something would be super, super valuable.
And it's starting
in a lot of
to
different ways.
be that the business can allow us to do that.
Yeah.
And that feels like so much more important than, I'm so sorry, family, than traveling home for Thanksgiving. That feels like, at this point in my life, just the most exciting travel I can do.
I never could have guessed where you were going to swing that. That's an interesting direction you took there. But that is something.
I mean,
you and I talked
barring
about.
like big life events in my family's lives and stuff that I absolutely do want to be there for.
Yeah.
But like just like holidays, if you contrast holidays and also the British version of holidays, vacations, and then like actually traveling somewhere for the purpose of like work and this thing that we love and meeting the people that are
Yeah.
helping things become a reality, like that one feels like more poignant. And I know that I definitely biased it with that language there, but it just feels so exciting to me. I can't help it.
Well, you and I were also talking about that yesterday morning while we were waiting for him to pick us up. The fact that we didn't even have a team really a year ago from now, and then like just yesterday in the middle of the week on a whim, we were able to just go down there for a day, watch our work on the screens, meet the people that we'd been working with, and then just come back and business as usual the next day is pretty wild. We would not have been able to do that at that point. One, we
It's one
didn't
of
have
those
the money to
things-
be able to do it, but two, it just wouldn't.
Yeah.
We didn't have the chutzpah for it or whatever.
It's one of those things that you don't realize how crazy it is until you do it, and then still you
It
forget
still
how
feels
crazy it is
crazy.
until you think about
Yeah.
it some more, and you're like,
That's
"What the
like
hell?"
big
It's
boy
crazy.
business time, you know? Like we actually got to go and meet the people we've been working with for a while. It's a big thing. Cool.
Shoot, dude, I love what we do.
I do too. Pretty wild. That was the one thing that a lot of people were saying yesterday. Either from, well, obviously we were saying it, but on their team too. We're just like, this is our job. Cool. Like, that's pretty sweet. Could be way worse, you know. This is, it's too fun.
For real.
Uh, anyway, that's beloved.
That's
That
beloved,
experience anyway.
and I
I've
beloved
been
it.
ruminating on it the entire time,
You.
and you're right, Noah. I don't care what other people think.
We come full circle.
Uh,
It took me a minute to really think about that.
yeah.
I think
Well,
you just-
Noah's had a lot of time to think, and he was the one who said it, so I feel like there's
Yeah.
got to be something now.
Honestly, I got one more sentence to add on to that, and it's
Okay.
really just if you persistently move with the intention of invoking joy and creating beauty and goodness and all that good jazz in this world, then like why worry about what other people think? I think a lot of the like negativity in social interactions is just like off the top of the dome. This is just what I've been thinking about today. I've been thinking that a lot of the negativity and a lot of social interactions come from um, expectations and pressures and worry about like what other people think in in a negative light, that it becomes this like self-fulfilling prophecy, this little cycle of like bouncing back and forth, this like anxiety that bounces back and forth between people of like, what if they don't like me? What if I don't like them? What if they don't like me? What if they don't like me? That can be dissipated and escaped if you just lead with the intentions of just like making the other person happy and just like making both of you just enjoy the interaction. I don't know. Those are my thoughts.
I had just one little nugget I wanted to throw out that I was thinking about with some of the conversations we were having with people yesterday. There's becoming to me, especially after we talked about the some of the misgivings around the comment I made about the years of experience not really mattering if you don't have work to back it up, which I still stand by the way.
Let's
However,
get spicy.
I think within that group that gets upset about that, there's two peoples. Okay, there's probably some others, but there are two voices that I see pretty strongly. There's those that are really interested in the craft and like they genuinely enjoy what they're doing. Okay. Other one is just pretty much only motivated by financials at this point. You know, you get the people who are like still trying to just have fun, make art, do that sort of stuff. But there is a very large portion of people that are older in motion design, I feel like, that hopped in like 2020, like COVID era, and saw it as like oh, get rich quick, let's go. You know, like I can just take these couple courses and then I should be asking for like $1,200 day rates or whatever. Let's do it. I should be making like $300K a year, despite never having done it before or like having pretty minimal experience or whatever. And I don't know. It's kind of strange to me. I've been kind of tossing that back and forth today. And like, it seems that that's kind of what happens if you've been in this industry for too long and have like just stuck with the technical side of it. Like you're just like, I'm just gonna make video after video after video. Like you either still find the passion to do that or hey, it's just a job. And I mean, world's your oyster. You do you. But both of those sound terrifying to me personally. I don't want to just be doing the craft like 10 years from now. Are you kidding me? Sounds awful.
I'll jump in on this conversation as well.
Thank goodness.
My little opinion. I think, like, experience is kind of a means to an end in that it allows you to do better. Just period. So in the motion design context, like, yeah, experience matters if it lets you create better work and interface better with people and just do and be a better motion designer. Of course it matters. But to just use the fact that you have a certain time that you've been doing it, whether it's true or not, is not innately valuable because
Mm-mm.
what's valuable is the work and the ability and all that jazz. And the whole point of saying how much experience you have is to point to that work and that credibility
Yeah.
and being like, I have this much experience. You can kind of assume that I'll have this level of skill level, but it's the people with that mismatch that
Where
I
they
think,
they do, but they
like,
don't.
those are the ones we're calling out here. It's the like, I have 20 years of experience and my work is like not something that's really production ready for a lot of brands here. It's those people that assume that, like, just because they've done a little bit and they've done it like a little bit for years and have that number that they can tote around, therefore they should earn this much money.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's the issue here. It's that like, let's just make good work and be honest
Make
about it.
progress, you know?
And it's like, I'm not trying to dupe people with how many years of experience I've had. I haven't had a whole bunch many years of experience, but I'm kind of proud that I'm able to get this far in that little amount of time. And so of course it's going to rub me the wrong way when people don't get very far in a long amount of time and then try and use that
Justify why we're tiny little babies or something. Just because we
to
haven't been
like
around this
shove
long.
other people down. It's like, no, that's clearly not what's important here. I'm spitting everywhere. I'm so passionate. It's like, no, that's clearly not what's important here. It's the work. It's the, you know?
I I think if I were to put it on a graph, given I don't have 20 years of experience, I don't have 15 years of experience in motion design, so maybe I really don't know. But to me, in the 3 years that we've had the studio now, it seems like the graph would look like this, or the like level of impact over amount of years of experience in terms of the actual like soft skill client relationship stuff. I
For those
cannot.
people listening, just audio, it goes up and then
It
plateaus.
goes up in plateaus. There it is. Because I just can't really imagine that big of a difference between somebody who's been in motion design for 10 years and is like 38 versus the 48-year-old. I feel like you start to get into the like, we talk all the time about how there's like a relatively small perceivable difference to the average person in between like the top motion design studios and the average motion design studios in terms of work. I think it's the same shit on the work side too. Like when you're real in the meta and just like, how is this person going to treat this project compared to this person? Is it really that big of a difference after a certain amount of time? Because I think it's also just the amount of effort you put into it. If you've got like 10 to 20 years of experience and like, I can, I know how to run a project because of that. Uh, I feel like sometimes I mean everybody I think just has different expectations of what that running of a project means, you know? Because to me
Hmm.
that's like I would hope that person could run a huge like multi-$100,000 project or something. But I don't know that those individuals are getting those types of projects. They might be interfacing with an agency or something who's having to also do the relationship management with their client or whatever. Like I don't really think it's that stark of like a I've been here for 15 years and now I'm like an Avenger or something and just can deal with anything thrown my way with no flaw and no learning at this point, you know?
Yeah. I think if I were to summarize it, I would say years of experience is a signifier and even still just a um it's just a number. No, it's years of experience is just a single factor in the sea of many.
Yeah.
You know, there's also like who you are and how you personally handle creative problems and interfacing with people and all that jazz. And so at the end of the day, it's just a small piece of the pie. And what really matters is how you're going to be to work with and how your work is.
And I think the only reason I ever called that out originally is the mismatch between like a person who emails me asking for work saying they have like 20 years of experience and it not matching the expectations of what I would imagine we would have in 20 years of experience, you know?
Yeah.
And
You
then
might even be shooting yourself in the foot if you really
like it
Lead with that.
if that's the thing that is supposed to provide the most value, is just that like, hey, I've existed for a while. That's cool. Like, there's definitely some things that you know that other people will not know unless they are that age. But how applicable that is to the job is not. I don't really know how applicable that is. You know?
Yeah. And like maybe there's something to be said about the experience not necessarily just showing through the work, but like
That's
if I'm
going to be
hiring a
pretty
motion designer,
hard to tell. You know?
I'm gonna want to look at the work primarily and who they are secondarily.
Yeah.
Well, both on kind of the same level, but you get it. And
I
it's
get
like
it. I get it.
all right, the rest can be learned pretty easy.
I was pretty shocked with how many people were upset about that, though. And I don't know how I feel about saying it, but I kind of feel like if you got upset about that, maybe you feel like it's a little bit more pointed at you than
Hi.
others might. I don't know.
I'm the problem. It's me.
Because there were a lot
Time.
of people that I thought were in that similar bracket that were like really leading with like 25 years of experience in motion design. And I'm like, this looks like a school of motion course or something. What? 25 years? But they then understood that as like a, oh, yeah, like don't just hide behind that number necessarily, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I did not expect to get us like, oh, look at the tiny little babies causing a ruckus. I'm like, oh, well, I'm sorry. My bad.
Well, at the end of the day, we are some loud babies, and we just love motion design.
Babies
I
just
think
love
we
crying.
all just
Okay?
we all just
It's
love the
gonna
industry
happen.
anyway. Can we not fight about silly stuff? That's all. We're just gonna keep being loud though. So that's how it is. First episode. Let's piss some people off.
Yes!
Yeah.
Hey, no publicity. All publicity is good publicity, you know?
I hope nobody gets pissed off by this.
I think
Sincerely.
that Jackson can put it together in a way that won't sound awful.
Or all publicity is good publicity.
And makes it
But in a
sound
way,
the
that's super
most
inflammatory.
awful.
It's just like,
Yes.
I fucking hate
You
people.
guys. I'm
who
so
motion
fucking
design.
ageist. If you're over 35, don't talk to me.
Thank you for being here, guys.
Yeah, no, thank you for being here. I'm glad that you were willing to discuss things with me on our own show. I really appreciate that. You know,
Seems like kind of a low barrier, but no problem.
I see.
Appreciate the compliment.
Yeah, no problem. I just feel like being nice.
Aw. That's Austin being nice, guys.
Psych! Suck
never
it,
forget it.
losers. See you next episode. Goodbye.
It's fun while it lasted.